What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Too Many Frames, a show where we talk about video games, anime, and everything else in between. And if you have not heard of, what this show essentially is, because I haven't uploaded an episode in like over a month, over 2 months probably. This is essentially just a show, like I said before, where we talk about a whole bunch of topics like video games, anime, and everything else that kind of falls in that, sphere of topics and whatnot. And we just kind of talk about it. It's like so many things that go on throughout like the news, especially throughout this year alone, that I really didn't really get a chance to dive into as much as I wanted to. So this is the show where I'm just able to kind of spit all my thoughts and ideas out, and y'all can listen if you really want to, if you're that interested. Now, with that being the case, we have made it to where this show is a monthly one instead of a weekly one, just so that way I can actually make different type of videos, and honestly more videos in like a higher quantity than just doing too many frames like every it was kind of a lot doing it every single week. But we should be good with this schedule right now. The beginning of every month, we're going to be talking about everything that was happening within the previous month and my thoughts on those things, I guess, the following like week afterwards. So with that being the case, let's go ahead and dive right into it. Now, the first thing that I wanted to really talk about was not only Halo on the PS5, but what Microsoft's role in the video game space is going to be from here on out. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, when I was looking at a bunch of these reactions on Twitter and people saying, oh, Microsoft is finally dead, PlayStation is, the one that won the console wars. I've seen so many, console wars this, console wars that, and I'm gonna be frank here. I think it's been dead for a while. I'm not gonna lie. But despite all that, people were really surprised to see Halo on the PS5. And I'm not gonna say that it's been telegraphed to us for years at this point, but it kind of has been telegraphed to us for years, like dating back to like Master Chief being in Fortnite, and also just Master Chief even coming to Nintendo Switch in some way, shape, or form with like the Master Chief Collection on Switch 1, which never ended up happening, but we might end up seeing on the Switch 2 later on. So as of where we are at right now, right, I'm all for games being multi-platform and all that, but when you have Xbox, which is a company that has, multiple IPs, and they have their own console, and then they're selling those consoles / games at a higher price. Now, like I said, as like a premium, it kind of makes me wonder, well, what's the point of you guys even being a developer, like a console developer, when y'all could just be third party? Like, honestly, like at first, like I don't know, in my opinion, I haven't really seen a lot of good first party games from Xbox in the last few years. Like Starfield was one of the big ones that I remember people were like kind of lukewarm to, and that was really about it. I didn't really see anything else from Xbox in a while, like a long while. And it's like kind of crazy to me, because you would think with all those companies that they buy out and try to have under their Xbox brand, you would think that they would try to make it to where people would have to buy an Xbox in order to play those games. But no, they're like, no, we're not going to do that. We understand the gaming industry is more about, third party stuff and all that, yada, 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 things need to be everywhere. And I'm like, okay, cool. But then now it's like, what's the point of you even having a console when I could just play all those games on the PS5? And then Game Pass also increasing in price, like for, I don't know, like honestly for no reason. But I mean, I don't want to say no reason, because obviously there is a reason as to why the Game Pass prices went up. It just feels like in the climate that we are in right now, and the way that they presented Game Pass to consumers, it never really made sense. Like, I was thinking in my head, oh, this thing is probably going to like burst in a few years, because there's no way they could have that many games be free for that long. It didn't make sense to me. Like, for like the period of time, like I feel like it was more detrimental to the original publishers and developers of those games than it was for Xbox. And I think now, seeing how they have to raise prices just due to not only the rising market games in general, but I don't know, they need more money, I guess. It's just weird. It's weird where we are at right now, and I do feel like Xbox will eventually fall out from the quote unquote console race war, whatever. Well, race, that's not what I meant to say, but you know, fall out from the console wars. But it's looking like, to me, I don't know, it just feels weird because I see a bunch of people on the internet talking about how Nintendo is going to eventually fall into place with Xbox and have all their Mario games and all their other Nintendo first party games on PlayStation. And I'm like, to me, it's just like, what are we talking about? Like, I don't, like, it's like, there's no way you could look at all the games that Xbox has made in the past like 10 years and then look at Nintendo's sales over the past 10 years and think that they're even slightly comparable. Even like on Nintendo's worst year, they're able to continue to have bad years and still make profit. Like, genuinely, that's like the way that they have their like infrastructure set up, that if they were to make 2 more Wii U generations, like where it's like they just were bad, they could have still been floating above. You know, they would have done whatever it took to just stay afloat. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. And bro, I remember seeing people saying, oh, the Nintendo Switch 2 is gonna flop, and how Nintendo Switch 2 is not necessary to have as long as you have a regular Nintendo Switch. And it doesn't make sense to me because then, I mean, I guess we could transition to the next topic of this video. We have the financials come up, and maybe it's just me, but these numbers are kind of insane. So first of all, what I wanted to say is we're gonna look at a couple of these slides. All right, we're gonna look at a couple of these slides. I'm not gonna look at too much, but essentially the first thing I wanted to show is the cumulative sell-in surpassed 10 million units as of September 30th, right? So since its launch in June, the Nintendo Switch 2 has sold over 10 million units, which that's been like, what, if you do basic math, like 4 or 5 months, right? And then when we look at everything else, like the base Switch took 9 months to sell 10 million. So Nintendo Switch 2 is still the fastest growing console in ever, actually, like literally ever. And you would think that, oh, you know, so many people have the base Switch, the install base is so huge that nobody's going to really buy the Switch 2, but nah, it seems extremely wrong, bro. I think that's like a very wrong headspace to be in, especially when you look at like how many console or how much software they end up selling as well. Over here, they say compelling Nintendo Switch titles continue to be released October onwards, in which they note Super Mario Galaxy and Mario Galaxy 2, Pokemon Legends ZA, Metro Prime 4 Beyond, even Pokemon Champions, strangely enough. We also got Tomodachi Life Living the Dream and Rhythm Heaven Groove, which I'm not going, like, we do also have to note that this is also like base Nintendo Switch titles, not just Nintendo Switch 2 titles. It says in this picture that 400 million Nintendo accounts have been created, and there are 128 million annual playing users, which, like I said, the install base for the base Switch is so huge, you would expect them to continue to make games for like those base, for the base Switch. Obviously, they're going to still keep doing that, right? But it says here, interestingly enough, 84% of the Switch 2 players transitioned from Switch, which means, okay, like essentially 16% of people that have a Switch 2 did not originally have a Switch, and the majority of people just transitioned from the base one, which, I mean, that's essentially how it always is, right? But they also said here, not only early adopters, but consumers who started playing Nintendo Switch at various points of its life cycle have also transitioned to Nintendo Switch 2. The majority of the people that, you know, bought a Switch 2 in 2017 switched over to the ones in switch over to the Switch 2 almost immediately, and then it gets smaller and smaller and smaller, which makes sense because I know a lot of people that buy the Switch 1, or they bought it literally last year, and I was like, hey, y'all shouldn't buy it because the Switch 2 is about to come out literally next year. Because I've been like the guy that's like, oh, Switch 2 or Switch Pro, whatever. I was that guy for a long time, and everybody was like, hey, Mon, you're just yapping, that shit ain't come out. And then it comes out and they're like, damn. So I don't know, I mean, it makes sense. They're probably gonna have to find a big way to push majority of their usership to the Switch 2, which will more than likely be a big Pokemon game, which is not ZA, because you can still play ZA on the base Nintendo Switch, or it's going to be the next, you know, Smash Brothers game, or the next Animal Crossing, like those big heavy hitters, Zelda even, the next big Mario game, like those big hitters are going to be what pushes the Nintendo Switch 2 to sales even higher, right? So with that being the case, right, as a Nintendo fan, I'm very, very, very excited for what the future might hold for like the games, but they are also here talking about movie schedules as well, right? So they're even talking about building a framework for a consistent release cadence, where they showed the Mario Brothers movie releasing in 2023, and then they're talking about the Super Mario Galaxy movie releasing in 2026, and then the following year, Legend of Zelda movie coming out in 2027, which in my head, right, based on what we know about Nintendo and them making these big movies, right, they haven't really talked about Detective Pikachu and putting Detective Pikachu in here, so I feel like Pokemon's not really going to be their main priority for the movies, but I can guarantee you we more than likely will get either a Kirby movie or a Metroid movie, or I'm gonna be honest, like the one that I think is guaranteed after Zelda is actually Pikmin. I think Pikmin is a lock in, just based on how often just based on how often they are trying to push Pikmin 24/7. I can guarantee you Pikmin probably first in 2028/2029, because they're probably gonna get Illumination to make the Pikmin movie, and then we'll get like a Kirby movie in 2028 or 2030. I don't even know what the year path would be for that, but you know, the release date path. But honestly, I don't know. I'm excited to see what Nintendo can do with these movies. I still want to see how Zelda is even going to be incorporated into this universe, right? Because we are all assuming that this is a separate universe, right? Like these are all separate universes. Like Mario's gonna have his own cinematic area, and then Zelda is gonna have their own cinematic stuff, and then whatever they do with Pikmin is gonna be its own thing. I wonder if we eventually get, instead of a Super Smash Brothers game, we get a Super Smash Brothers movie instead, which a lot of people have considered and thrown around time and time again, which I'd be excited for, honestly. But I could see them doing a thing where it's like, hey, we're gonna do a Super Smash Brothers game, and then literally a year later, we'll do a Super Smash Brothers movie, or vice versa. Drop a Super Smash Brothers movie, and then just to hype up fans and shit, Super Smash Brothers game right after. We really don't know. I don't know what direction Nintendo's trying to go in, trying to go with here, but we'll see. We'll see. Besides all of that, though, like I said, really not that much I wanted to talk about. I did want to go into a little bit more of a deep dive with my experience with Legends ZA, and it's not like I don't know. I know I did a review already recently, but like I said in that review, I didn't want it to be super duper long, so I kind of shortened it by a lot. Like originally there was probably like 45 to 50 minutes of a review that I wanted to do, but I was like, to be honest, I don't really want to have somebody sit through a 50-minute review of me talking about Pokemon. So I think later on I'll have a much bigger and more like interesting video for like all the things that I thought about ZA and how it might go into the next Pokemon game. But all I really wanted to say here for this semi deep dive of ZA is I really enjoyed the game. Obviously, like I said in the review, I really enjoyed it, but I'm also hoping that they do better. The one thing I want to talk about here specifically is the amount of hate that ZA got initially. And it feels like it's been a thing for, you know, Nintendo properties recently to go through. Like they'll go ahead, have people call the game bad, and then people will buy that game or console, and then people will enjoy it, and then they'll be like, well, damn, that didn't matter, I guess. People literally did that with Donkey Kong. They did that with fucking Mario Kart. They did it with Pokemon. They're probably gonna do it with Kirby Air Rider somehow. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but they'll find a way to do it. They'll do it with Metroid. Like it really doesn't matter. They're gonna keep saying that Nintendo fans, you're better. Nintendo fans, you're better. Pokemon fans, you're better. And it's just crazy to me, because to me, it's like y'all never gave a shit beforehand when we were actually dealing with bullshit. We had bad games, and there was not as much uproar. I think it's because so many people are playing the game and enjoying it now, and especially since it's on the bigger spotlight, because it's one of the few games that you could get on the Switch 2 that people are really just like pushing to just hate, to be a hateful person. I don't know, like I liked being more, you know, positive, which is exactly why I didn't leave the majority of what I thought in the review, because I wanted the review to be positive. just leave it as is, as positive as it could be. You know, obviously I had my gripes with the game. You know, there's a lot of, it's Pokemon, right? There's going to be some things that piss me off that doesn't make any sense. Obviously the online isn't going to make any sense, where you can't even battle your friend unless you're doing the fucking timer thing, which I forgot to talk about in that review. That was one of the main things that I wanted to bring up for the online and stuff, but I literally just forgot to write that into the script because it was like 3 a.m. in the morning when I was trying to write all that. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of bad things about Pokemon Legends ZA, but I do think that this game is literally the best thing that we've gotten in years. And the fact that so many people are hating on the game now, it's just crazy. Now, will it die down a little bit? Probably. I know it's a Twitter only thing because Pokemon literally just put out that in 4 days, it sold over 5 million? Yeah, 5 million copies in 5 days. And like, I think a majority of those are like on the Switch 1. I gotta check again. I'm not really checking anything right now. I just want to talk really, just yapping right now. But my whole issue is that so many people are so just not only like willfully ignorant, but they're just okay at being wrong. They don't mind being wrong about a certain topic, or like just being, I don't know, just not just disrespectful, but like, I mean, I guess, yeah, just disrespectful and rude and mean-spirited to other people that are just enjoying their time. Like, if me enjoying a game bothers you so badly, you gotta really, really look at yourself on the inside. I understand a lot of that shit is rage bait, and a lot of these sad, pathetic, lonely people get a kick out of calling people dumb for playing a game that they enjoy. But I'm gonna keep it a brick. I know this better than you do. I guarantee you that. I've been on the same shit for years, where I'm like, I want Pokemon to be better. I want Pokemon to be better. But I cannot keep saying the same shit over and over and over again with the, you know, gradual line going up. Like, it's going up just really slowly, but it is going up. So it's like, I can't really get that mad. Like, is there certain things that I would prefer be better like almost immediately? Yes. Is there certain things that I feel like should be done right away and that they should not be stalling on, like graphics or, you know, voice acting and stuff like that? Yes, obviously, 100%, of course. But my thing is, we've been complaining about that since literally Sword and Shield, probably even before Sword and Shield, honestly. Like, Sun and Moon was good to me, in my opinion, but obviously the voice acting allegations didn't start until Sword and Shield, right? And to me, it's like, bro, Sword and Shield came out in 2018. It's been like almost 8 years since that game has released, or it has been 8 years, something like that, and nothing has changed, right? But I'm not going to continue to harp on the things that I find negative about the game when I find so many more things positive about the game, right? Especially as a Pokemon fan, because at the end of the day, I love Pokemon. I love Mons. I could literally look at something similar to this for another game and probably not really like that game as much. But because this is a franchise that I've been with since I was 10 and nostalgia is just there, I'm obviously gonna fuck with it. Like, I like Pikachu, I like Lucario, I like fucking Charizard, nigga. I like these dudes. I like the guys. Those are the dudes, right? I love Rowlet. I love all these goobers. There's no other franchise that are gonna have these goobers for me to enjoy. So at the end of the day, I guess all I wanted to say is, if you are a person who feels bad for, you know, enjoying a game, even though it may not be up to everybody else's standards in the gaming industry, why do you care? Don't care about what these people think. I'm gonna keep playing my little game with my finally 60 frames, you know, and finally 1080p on handheld, you know, like, I'm gonna keep enjoying it. All right, I'm having a great time. You should have a great time too. Don't let these goobers tell you how to feel, okay? Don't let them do it. Don't let them do it. And to the people that are mad that Pokemon is successful, or saying that Pokemon fans don't know what they want, or that they keep complaining about shit and then they don't, you know, get anything better because they wanted to support certain games. It's like, bro, niggas just want to have fun. I just want to have fun. If a game looks fun to me, I'm going to play the game. If the game did not look fun, then I was not going to play it. The only game that I have not played and that I went out of my way to say, no, I'm not playing this game, is Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. And I honestly feel like I didn't miss out that much, besides the fact that other people are saying that it is like the best looking game on the Switch, which, I mean, maybe, for Pokemon at least. But I don't know, like, there's certain, like we could obviously stand on business. It's not like we're not going to. It's just that some games look fun at the beginning, and then you play them, and then you realize that they're either not fun or they are more fun than you thought. So I don't know. Let niggas do what they want. I don't know what the fucking issue is. I don't know why everybody has to fucking be a miserable little old man and fucking be like, Pokemon used to be better when I was younger. Like, I don't care. I don't care. Anyways, that's gonna be the end of the show. If you guys enjoyed this, it's just me rambling about bullshit. If you enjoyed, click a like, comment down below topics that you want me to talk about for next month's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.